A wave of car theft hits New York City. Thousands of luxury cars disappear at a speed that is unprecedented and in a style that leaves no trace. The surprising thing is that the mastermind of these thefts is not a New Yorker. He is not even an American. Who he is, and how on earth does he manage to pull off such a perfect heist on American soil? We will come to know in a story that is very true and very hard to believe. In the late 90s, New York City finds itself at the mercy of car lifters. A gang has arrived. It can steal any car from any place in seconds. The frequency of their assaults is amazing. They managed to steal 48 top-of-the-range cars in less than 45 days. What is unique about these thefts is that the stolen vehicles never resurface. The cars and their expensive parts vanish. The police are puzzled. They conclude the cars are exported, so they conduct a search operation in the Brooklyn port, as the port is most suitable for cars stolen from New York. The search ends and nothing is found that can be connected to the car thefts. The thefts continue relentlessly. The police are paralyzed. They have no idea that the gang is run by an ex-military intelligence officer from China. Who is this man, and why did he decide to switch sides? Let us find out. In the year 1990, Yang is discharged from the army. His prestige is damaged beyond repair. He breaks loose from morality. Now he is bent on starting a criminal enterprise, as if to say, "Stop me if you can." He settles down in Shanghai, which is home to the richest people in China. Here, he finds that demand for luxurious cars is very high, but the supply of such cars is hardly existent. His professional instincts are ablaze at the moment. He gets an idea. He goes to an underworld gang leader in Shanghai. He tells the gangster about his military experience, his ability to smuggle expensive cars and deliver them to the gangster, and proposes that the gang leader can then sell them in China through his network. The gangster gives serious thought to his proposition. After a little reflection, he agrees and enters into a secret deal. The profit-sharing ratio will be 1/3 to Yang and 2/3 to the gangster. The gangster gives $500,000 to Yang so that he can start his operations. Yang leaves the spot in a quiet demeanor. What's going on in his head? Nobody ever knows until the time he executes his planning. Yang targets New York. It is because the concentration of the world's richest people is highest in this city. These people love to ride top-of-the-range luxurious cars. So, Yang will have a greater opportunity with a greater number of cars. And he will also have greater flexibility in selecting locations for his thefts, the locations that are distant and different from each other. The opportunity is great, but the risk of being apprehended is also equally great because the NYPD is one of the world's best police departments. Yang is fully aware of that, but he knows he is going to beat them. Yang cannot land in America with his original identity. He uses his military contacts to get himself a fake identity. So Yang moves to the United States under the name Kenny. He takes his most trusted man, Poi Chow, along with him from China. Chow is his right hand. They enter the States as settlers and try to mix up into the society in the best possible way. Yang rides a pre-owned Nissan Altima so that he appears an ordinary man. They keep a low profile to avoid attention. Yang is very disciplined right from the start. Now their first job is to select a warehouse. New York is home to a lot of criminals as well, and Yang knows that police stations are located in the areas where the crime rate is high, and they usually patrol such areas. Yang wants to avoid police surveillance and patrol, so they are looking for a warehouse on the outskirts where the crime rate is zero. They spend a good time searching for a place of their choice. Yang is extremely careful, and he knows he cannot afford the slightest mistake. Eventually, he finds a place of his choice with a warehouse that meets his requirements. They create a company under the name MSK Group that deals in food supply and distribution. They pretend to rent the warehouse for the company they registered. They install cupboards designed to store food boxes and fill the cupboards with the goods. He is very discreet, so he places the cupboards close to the entrance. If anyone enters the warehouse, they will consider it a food storage facility. Now Yang needs warehouse staff. He hires only Chinese people whom he can trust. Next, he installs surveillance cameras outside his warehouse at different angles with military precision, so that he can closely monitor the activities outside the warehouse. He has done his homework very nicely. Now it is the time to reveal Yang's operational secrets that are going to evade police for a long time. Yang interposes as many layers as possible between him and his covert operations, and he always keeps other people in front so his name remains hidden. So Yang starts searching for an experienced car thief, the one whose skill in stealing a car is as sophisticated as the car itself. and he hopes to find one. Soon, Yang and Chow meet Dean, a notorious car lifter. Dean knows how to manage car thefts in the most risky situations. He is quite capable of stealing any car at any place in no time. Yang assigns Dean to supervise the thefts. Dean takes the assistance of his trusted friend Mario Lopez, who is an expert in beating the car lock systems and knows about all the anti-theft devices that protect vehicles. Lopez will prepare the cars for theft and hire a group of thieves to steal them. Yang never talks to the thieves himself. Yang knows that the car thieves always have trouble getting rid of the stolen vehicles. So, through his agents, Dean and Lopez, he offers them a facility, a readily available buyer of stolen cars. The car thieves are happy to accept a cheaper price and part with stolen cars. Young loves to have multiple layers between him and the tasks that he assigns to others. Moreover, he always remains behind the scenes, but he has incredible discipline and protocols in place that everyone is bound to follow. The second phase is complete, and now Young starts the theft operations, and his doctrine of stealing a car and bringing it to the warehouse is amazing. They do not target any specific area. They steal from parking lots, malls, and residential areas, and quickly change the locations of thefts. They only target high-end luxury cars. These cars are supplied with a number of sophisticated security systems, including motion detectors that sound off when the car is moved, recessed door locks that prevent alien tools, an electronic engine mobilizer that ensures the car does not start with a duplicate key. And as a last line of defense, GPS fitted in a hidden spot of the vehicles will help the police to track down the stolen vehicle. But none of these obstacles can stop the Yang's gang. First, a car is identified. Lopez has to get the car ready, but he never breaks the car's lock. If he tempers with the car lock, the car's computer will stop working and deny them any chance of starting the car. Lopez first deactivates the alarm systems and gets into the car by breaking the window. He is skilled in attaching his laptop to the car's computer and reprogramming the lock system so that the car can be started with an ordinary key. Now, Yang's training and skill come into play. He has devised a meticulous procedure to erase any trace of the theft operations. While Lopez is bypassing the car's lock system, he will be watched by a gang member from some distance. Should a threat raise its head, Lopez will be informed in time to abandon the car. If there's no threat, Lopez will continue. When the car is ready to be taken away, Lopez will leave the car and signal to a thief driver to take it away to an already selected parking lot where expensive cars are parked. Now, they will deactivate the GPS system and leave the car there for 2 days under human surveillance. They will see if the car is approached by police or the owner. If the car is not approached by anyone, it is ready to be transferred to the warehouse. But wait, there is still one more test to be conducted. The car will not be taken to the warehouse directly. It will rather be pulled over 3 streets away from the warehouse, and the driver will leave. As an additional layer of protection, these drivers are not told anything about the warehouse. Now, Dean will come and drive the car. He will move around the warehouse, and the surveillance cameras already in place outside will help the team make sure that the car is not being chased. Once they make sure there is no mysterious activity around it, the car is driven into the warehouse. It is parked in a designated hall, which is provided with tools and a qualified staff to get the cars ready for shipment. They repair minor damages that appear in the car during the theft and make it look as if the car has just left the showroom. The number of stolen cars is increasing, and the police investigation is also intensifying. But Young seems least bothered. How long will he dodge the police? Only time will tell. The car lifting continues, and before the police respond, they are gone without leaving any trace. The police have already deployed all of their resources to catch the thieves. They have set up their agents to clear the traders engaged in selling parts of expensive cars. But to no effect, they search for the car bodies in different scrapyards, but the stolen cars appear to have vanished from the earth. The police have exhausted their investigation manuals. They are baffled beyond imagination, because this time they are dealing with a man who knows their manuals better than they do. He has covered his operations in multiple layers, which the New York police have never been expecting. When a good number of cars are collected, preparations are made for shipping the cars to China. It is not less than a miracle to smuggle a whole lot of cars from America all the way to China. In doing so, one One has to beat the entire security system of a country referred to as superpower. How can Yang do that when the police are already super active to catch him? Yang's strategy for shifting the cars to China is truly admirable, for he achieves two objectives with a single line of action. First, he shifts the containers to New Jersey, which is a state next to New York, and from there, containers are loaded on trains, which go straight to California. The two states are located thousands of miles away from each other on the opposite ends of the country. In this way, he goes around two big problems. First, he gets rid of worrying about the police because he knows that they can never ever consider California port for investigation of cars that are stolen in New York. And secondly, he saves a lot of money in transportation costs since his merchandise is transported through the Pacific Ocean, which is the shortest way from the States to China. But how does he skip detection on all the way that is thousands of miles? Well, he has a simple but ingenious remedy. He has already weighed a container full of food boxes. He loads stolen cars in the containers and camouflages them with food boxes. He makes sure that the weight of the container loaded with food boxes and cars is exactly the same as the weight of the container only loaded with food boxes. Using this simple technique, he evades any detection en route to California and then to China because the cars are well hidden behind the food boxes, and the precision of the container's weight denies any suspicion at the weighing stations and docks. When containers reach California port, they are loaded on the ship, but the ship's destination is not China. There is another layer of protection. On its way, in the Pacific Ocean, the ship transfers Yang's containers to another ship which is going to Shanghai, China. The owner of the second ship knows the true contents of the containers. 5 years have passed. Yang has been able to fool the police for this long. He has stolen and transported thousands of cars to China. However, the demand for cars keeps on increasing in China, which forces Yang to steal the cars at an increasing rate. He thinks of different options, and now he focuses on car showrooms and decides to steal a number of cars in one go. Greed has won over caution. Yang violates his own security code. Yang authorizes Dean and Lopez to approach car dealers. Lopez arrives at a car showroom and pretends to be a customer looking to test drive the cars. He notices the spot from where the salesperson fetches the keys. Lopez thanks the salesperson and leaves. 2 days later, he returns after the showroom is closed and the staff has gone. He breaks into the showroom, goes straight to the spot he has already identified, and picks up the keys. The showroom has an automatic security system. The police get a message. Yang's team has to be faster than the police. Lopez signals to his men outside, and 7 cars are stolen within 3 minutes, which is less than the police response time. They have a detailed plan in place. The 7 men take separate routes. The routes are carefully selected to avoid heavy traffic. The heist is successful until one of the drivers smashes his car against a pole by accident. The police arrive at the spot to see the matter and come to know that the car is stolen. The driver is taken into custody. After a little time, he yields to the pressure and tells them about Dean. The police deploy agents to keep Dean under observation, and after a week, Dean unknowingly leads the police to Yang's warehouse. The agents do not rush into the warehouse, rather they secretly observe the visitors and the activities around it. Yang's game is about to end. His base is exposed. But no, Yang has envisioned every possibility. These agents have no idea that they are under counter surveillance. Chow is watching the police. He informs Yang. Yang appears very calm because he has plans in place to deal with the crisis situation. Yang immediately passes an order to stop delivering cars to the warehouse. But what about the cars that are already inside? Yang sends a few trucks into the warehouse, loads them with the cars, equipment, and tools, camouflages the cars with food boxes, and takes them away to a safe place. The police have no idea that the evidence they are looking for is being transported in front of them because they believe Yang's team does not know about the police. Yang makes sure that anything related to cars is removed from the warehouse. Yang knows a police raid is inevitable. His brain is working with full concentration. He is right. The raid takes place. Has his team left some evidence? The police raid the warehouse on the next day, but they are utterly disappointed to see that they have been outsmarted. During this small episode, Yang does not show up on the site, so the police have no idea about Yang's appearance. Now, the police decide to divert their attention back on Dean and closely monitor his activities. The police intercepted his calls with the court's permission. They listen to different people asking Dean, "Is everything okay? Are we still under surveillance?" Dean answers, "I will let you know when when the situation gets normal. After 6 months, Dean receives a call from a person. Dean calls him Kenny, who is in fact Yang. He relays a message: "We have an order for 260, but does not go beyond that." So they are in fact using a coded language. The police interpret that Kenny must be the gang leader, and he knows that his team is under surveillance. Yang loves cutting the trail of his activities, so he uses mobile phones for a little while and then gets rid of them. And this protocol goes along the board. Every member of his team keeps changing their mobile phones. In this way, the police cannot get their complete conversations in case they eavesdrop on their calls. With incomplete information, the police cannot make a concrete plan to apprehend the group. And at the same time, the police will have difficulty finding their numbers each time they change the phone. But this time, the police have a smart remedy. They have already eavesdropped on their conversation with their families. For instance, Dean's wife's number is already tracked down by the police. If Dean changes his number, he will definitely talk to his wife from his new number, and by tracking his wife's phone, the police will trace Dean's new number. In this way, the police find each member's new numbers very easily. In all these years, Yang has always been in the lead, but now he is lagging behind in this battle of strategies. To make things worse, Yang is unaware of it. In the meanwhile, Yang's right hand Chow makes a fatal mistake. He uses his phone to set an appointment with Yang in a restaurant. The police immediately implant an agent of Chinese origin in the same restaurant, and for the first time, police happen to see Yang. The Chinese agent gets to listen to their conversation. They are planning to move to a new warehouse, so they rent a new warehouse unaware that the police are watching them. Yang has planned to add another layer of defense, so he installs cameras not only outside the warehouse, but also outside the surrounding buildings, and keep a close watch if the police ever try to intervene. But the police are very careful this time, and Yang has no idea about it. He continues to bring new cars to his warehouse. He has explored yet another smart way of stealing a large number of cars in a single attempt. He has now targeted parking garages where a large number of luxury cars park every day. Lopez has bribed the parking valet who keeps the car keys to remove a car in case a car in the rear wants to leave. Lopez offers him $500 for each car they will steal. The valet finds it difficult to refuse the offer. The operation is planned. A team arrives at the parking garage. They tie up the valet's hands and feet and lay him down on the ground. They do it so that no one suspects the valet to be an accomplice. They take a good number of cars and drive them to the garage. But this time, they break their own rule. They always remove GPS from stolen cars, but this time, they fail to follow the protocol. It is a common tendency to become lenient when victories persist. A GPS is functional in one of the cars that have been taken into the warehouse. The theft is registered at a local police station. A police officer arrives at the warehouse after the signal from the GPS. This officer does not know that the warehouse is under a larger investigation. The secret agents have no time to stop this officer. When the officer gets close to the warehouse, all the workers start fleeing the place because they have already seen him through surveillance cameras. The secret agents jump in and arrest as many of them as possible. Now the investigating team is fully aware that if Kenny comes to know about the raid, he will try his best to get out of the police reach. Fortunately, Young's house has already been tracked down and has been under surveillance by police officers from a distance. So, when the warehouse workers are being arrested, the police surveying Young's house get an order to arrest him. Kenny is arrested on the same night. The police, after interrogating him, come to know about his true identity. He is an ex-military intelligence officer of the Chinese army. This disclosure unravels the secret of his success for such a long time. Yang was declared a convict by the court, but he was imprisoned for 10 years only because he was not the one who actually stole the cars. It was estimated that he made a profit of $40 million, which is equivalent to $75 million in the present time. Yang remains triumphant in his battle with the police because the police could not get a single dollar back from him. He had transferred all that money to China. Where is Yang nowadays? How did he use the millions? Nobody knows the answer, but he has certainly taken the crimes to the next level.